Okay, we have defender Chris Richards and midfielder Sebastian Berhalter. We'll start with Stephen Goff.
Hey, Chris. How are you?
Good, how are you?
Tell us about your knee, what's going on there, and whether you're able to rest, play, whatever, tomorrow.
Yeah, no, I'm fine. I had a bad tackle in my last game with Palace, and so just a little bit of knee pain, knee soreness. But I've been training individually all week, and yeah, I'm available for tomorrow.
Sanjay.
Chris, you had a great, maybe generational quote about Chili's that went viral recently. Anything else that you'd like to single out as uniquely American on top of the triple dipper in general?
That's a tough one to beat. I don't know. Maybe the TSA lines right now. That's pretty American. But, I can't really think of anything else. But no, I think the Chili's one. It's really high up there.
Can't wait to see that headline. Straight in the back.
Hi, I'm Troy Hirsch with Nexstar Media Group. I've got two questions for both of you, if I could. First, you played around the world and you've seen soccer evolve here in the United States, and I'm just wondering what you think of the Americans' excitement for the World Cup and the, for lack of a better term, the soccer mania that you're seeing around this team coming in.
Yeah, I think it's been it's gonna be great for the country. You know, I think it's something that almost the country's been craving, and we want to produce. We want to give it to them and show that. Yeah, this is one of the biggest sports in this nation, and yeah, hopefully people are excited. We want to go out there and fight and put intensity into the games and show that we're a real soccer nation.
Yeah, I mean, of course, playing in Europe, soccer is the biggest sport, and I think there's been a lot of buzz, about the game forever. But especially when they come into American soil, they really kind of love the American culture that we have, especially the sports culture. So I know they're really excited to see what we have to offer this summer, not just on the field, but off the field. And yeah, overall, I mean, we want to also show the world why we want to be one of the soccer powerhouses that people talk about. So, it takes good performances, and I think we can build off of the last game. But when it comes World Cup time, I know that we'll be ready.
And then the second question was regarding the new training center. I don't know if you've seen it or seen any pictures, but your thoughts about having a dedicated place for U.S. soccer now.
Yeah, I think it's incredible. I think that's a big step, and we haven't seen it yet. I think in next camp, I think we'll see it. But yeah, it's incredible. I mean, to have that and to have a home base and not to travel as much and all the facilities and everything we need there, I think it's an important step.
Pablo.
It's Pablo Maurer from The Guardian. I just wanted to ask you a little bit about how Mauricio delegates leadership roles on the team, how you guys sort of figure that type of dynamic out on the field, in the locker room, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, it's not really a role that he can just put onto somebody. It's somebody who earns it. They kind of lead by example. So again, we have a bunch of leaders on the team. It's not just the guy wearing the armband, but I think we have a lot of big personalities as well, and I think that helps. I think you can tell from this group that a lot of us we really love each other, and I think that love can also translate onto the pitch. But I think we have more leaders than just the captain. I think that's probably the number one thing. Regardless of how many caps, regardless of how many times you've been in the camp, it's a bunch of leaders.
Seth.
Hey, Chris. Seth Vertelling from USA Today. You had the opportunity to watch the game from the sideline against Belgium, and I'm wondering what your observations were of the defensive performance. You went back to a 4 when you had been playing in a 5 a lot lately. What do you think the team can improve, and how do you think they looked against Belgium in the 4?
Yeah, I mean, I think honestly, the first hour of the game, I think it could have been. I think we could have scored a lot more. I think we could have ultimately kind of wrapped up the game in the first half. I know it's a game of two halves, but I think it's a really strong performance from the team and for the first 60 minutes. I think second half, there was moments here and there, but Belgium's a top team. These are the kind of caliber teams that we need to play, that we haven't been able to play due to them having World Cup qualifiers and things like that. But again, I think it's best that we learn these lessons now before the World Cup than us getting there and learning the hard way. So regardless of the result, I think the team for the majority of the game had a good performance, and again, it's just something that we can work on.
Henry.
Chris, Henry Bushnell from The Athletic. I'm curious, we're coming toward the home stretch of the season now. How has the Conference League grind been for you? And, playing these double weeks, traveling around the continent, and have you had to, adjust how you take care of your body based on that?
It's been tough. I can't lie, it's been tough. Some interesting places we've had to go, some interesting results, some interesting fields. hostile environments, but I think it's cool. It's something that you don't get every week in the Prem. You're not able to play against teams from Bosnia, Cyprus. So it's very interesting, but it's also I think it's very integral if you want to learn. I think being able to play in these kind of hostile environments, it doesn't just help with club, it helps with country as well. And I think every chance you get to learn, that not every game's going to be perfect, not every situation's going to be perfect, it helps you out in the long run.
Ron?
Mike, for Chris first, how does the shape and what you guys do change when you have like speedier players on the flanks, like when Anthony's back in the team or Serginho's on the right?
Yeah, I think defensively it means everybody needs to shift. I think especially when one of the fullbacks goes up. So, for example, if Jed goes up, everybody in the back line needs to shift over to the left-hand side. But I think it gives us a lot of fluidity. I think them being able to join the attack, maybe a midfielder drops in and helps us out defensively. So I think the whole point of our formation is that, we're flexible, that people can drop in here, people can attack there. And I think the main thing is that we're focused behind the ball, that us defenders do what we do best, which is defend. And again, when the wingers are able to add that 1% to the attack, then it's perfect.
And for Sebastian, what has made you such a good corner kick taker?
Practice. It's not.
Is it just practice?
It's not a secret. I promise you. It's not a. Yeah, it's nothing. It's just reps, and kind of wanting that to be a part of my game. It's an area of the game that you can score a lot of goals on. You can be effective on. So it's something that I wanted to bring into my game, and it's just practice.
Was there a certain point that just clicked?
I think it's something always I was emphasized to me when I was young, and I think the last couple of years we started using more technology in Vancouver and different things where I realized, okay, like I can be good at this, and I just have to practice, and it's something I'm still trying to get better at, and something that hopefully I'll be even better at.
So 2 points. First, the assist from Jedi on the corner kick in the game on Saturday was his first time ever taking a corner kick for the United States. Wow. And second, we will not tell Tim Way you don't think he's fast.
And third, we know he's on set pieces now, just that's not clear.
Ethan Sears, New York Post. Chris, I'm wondering, just as a defensive group, what do you feel the identity of this team should be defensively, and how close are you guys to achieving that?
Yeah, I think when you think of kind of the best defenders, you think of guys who kind of want to run through a brick wall, and I think that's something that I think we can add to our game. I think, there's moments here and there where you've seen that kind of toughness, and I think sometimes, like, for example, the other day, we maybe let in a few, I guess, soft goals. So I think something that I think we can bring to it is just this toughness, I think when attackers fear you, I think it makes your game a little bit easier, Maybe they're a bit hesitant going into a header, maybe they're a bit hesitant taking a shot because they know that the back line is going to be strong. So, no, I think, again, it takes time. I know we don't have that much time left, but I know that when we're able to play in these high-level games, and I think when you're able to get good performances and good results against high-level teams, I think it definitely gives you confidence.
Is that purely a mentality thing on your guys' part, or is there anything tactical to that?
You can put whatever tactics out there, but if the guys don't go out there and show you that they're going to do it, you can only go so far. So I think mentality is probably the number one thing. I think that's something that Mauricio has also stressed to us, is that he can put whoever out there on the pitch, but you have to go out there and perform. And I think mentality is the number one thing that can get you wins.
Jonathan.
Jonathan Tannenwald from Philadelphia Inquirer. Chris, you were talking a minute ago about the tactical side of the defensive changes. I'm just curious, when Mauricio said after the Portugal game that even when it looked like a 3-4-2 on paper, still defending with 4 guys, but maybe it's a little bit of a difference as to what position those 4 guys come from as to once they get back there. Does it change for you as a center back when it's 3 in quotes versus 4 or 2 center backs in quotes, and if so, how?
Yeah, I think at the club level, depending on which of the 3 you are, you can either be more aggressive, or I guess the outside center backs can be more aggressive, and the center one is kind of the safety per se. And I think when you're playing in a 4, you have to be a bit more tactically disciplined. You probably need to stay more central and protect the middle. So I think it becomes different in these moments, but I think also here with the national team, I think I think it's tough because we do switch sometimes here and there, but I think the number one thing is that you need to make sure that you protect the middle. As center backs, we're in the center, so protecting the goal is our number one job.
Jeff.
Question for Sebastian over here. There's been a lot of talk about indoor pitches and, you know, how they play, especially I think a lot at the Club World Cup last year. How did you find the turf the other night?
Yeah, I think it was honestly better than what we've had in the past. I feel like that was a pretty good pitch, maybe a little slippy here and there, but I think in general, you know, I think they did a good job.
Doug?
Hey guys, Doug McIntyre, Fox Sports. Seb, you mentioned technology used in Vancouver on set pieces. What is that exactly? And Chris, for you, how, if at all, has your role changed on the leadership front at Palace since Mark Gay he left? And is there anything you can apply that would, you know, help you in that role with the national team? Thanks.
Yeah, I think there's a technology called TrackMan, and I think more importantly, there's a coach that came out to Vancouver and, you know, kind of walked us through and helped us out, and, you know, then I took it upon myself to try to be great at it. And, you know, he was great to kind of put those routines and instill those things that, you know, now my run-up's the same almost every time, and I feel confident in that, and, you know, there's no real variables, and yeah, now it's just about me executing and, you know, keep using my quality to improve and get better.
Yeah, I mean, I think when Mark left, you know, I think there was this kind of void that people were speaking about was who's going to step up in that leadership role. But I love Mark. You know, I love him, and I think he was more of a person who led by example than vocally. You know, he's a very quiet person. That's just his personality, and so I felt like I kind of always had that role. Maybe just wasn't necessarily recognized by outside people, but you know, I think now that Mark's gone, I think. You know, of course, I continue my role vocally, but I think also, you know, putting in good performances and also making sure that the people around me are in the right spot. So again, it makes my job a little bit easier. But you know, also trying to help the young guys like JD Canvo, Chadi Riyad, guys who are kind of stepping into this starting spot in, you know, arguably the best league in the world for the first time. I think it's making sure that you know, they're also doing well so that it can again help us as a team.